By using expressions in integration services packages, we can build a lot of flexibility into our packages. We can create expressions anywhere, directly in an expression property, or we can use Notepad and copy the expression to the target property. However, we might find it easier to use the expression builder so that we can use drag and drop functionality to access the variables that we have in the package or columns that are currently in the data flow pipeline. Because integration services is case sensitive, it's important to get these names right, and using the expression builder helps us do that. It also lets us see the available functions that we can use in expressions. And we have a button to evaluate the expression so that we can confirm we're getting the desired results. Integration Services has its own expression language syntax. There are functions that allow us to perform mathematical operations or string manipulations. We also have functions for manipulating dates, assigning null values, and converting data types. For the most part, working with the expression language is intuitive if you're familiar with other expression languages. Some key things to remember is that we use the plus sign for concatenation and that we use a ternary operator for conditional expressions. That operator contains a question mark and a colon to separate the arguments of the conditional expression. Variables are preceded by an @ sign and enclosed in brackets, while columns are simply enclosed in brackets. Speaking of variables, we learned there are two types: system variables, which we can access as read-only variables, and user variables, which we can initialize and modify during package execution, and of course we can retrieve the current value for use in expressions. After we learned about the components of expressions, we learned how to use expressions. We can use variables to construct expressions, and we can use those expressions to change a connection manager at runtime, such as we might do when we need to use a different connection string when our environment changes. We can also use expressions in the control flow to set a property in a task or a container. And we can use expressions with precedence constraints to dynamically change the workflow. Then in the data flow, we can use expressions to configure data transformations, such as we do with the derived column transformation or the conditional split transformation. And you can learn more about working with expressions by using these links.